A 67-year-old woman was denied boarding on her flight to see her daughter. The airline said they oversold. She was told to wait for the next flight in 2 days. She didn't know she had federally protected rights. She was entitled to $1,350 cash compensation immediately. The airline never told her. There are 10 federally protected rights that seniors have when flying. Airlines hope you never learn them. And the number one right? It's worth thousands of dollars. But only 3% of eligible seniors ever claim it. By the end of this video, you'll know which federal law requires airlines to pay you cash, not vouchers, when they bump you involuntarily. Why another right guarantees you assistance navigating airports regardless of your mobility level. And which right at number 1 could get you immediate compensation worth up to $1,350 per ticket. 3 of these rights have specific dollar amounts attached. And the last one? Airlines train their staff to avoid mentioning it at all costs. Right number 10. Wheelchair assistance is mandatory and free. Let's start with the mobility right every senior should know. Airlines are federally required to provide wheelchair assistance. Free. No questions asked. You don't need to prove disability. You just need to request it. But many seniors don't know this right exists. But here's the twist. Airlines must provide wheelchair assistance from check-in to your seat. Then from your seat to baggage claim at your destination. This includes help through security, to the gate, boarding the plane, and deplaning. It's federal law under the Air Carrier Access Act. A 72-year-old man thought wheelchair service cost extra. He struggled walking through Dallas-Fort Worth, a massive airport. Took him 45 minutes to reach his gate. He was exhausted before the flight even started. He didn't know he could have requested free assistance when booking. What airlines don't tell you is you can request this 48 hours before your flight. Call the airline. Say, you need wheelchair assistance. They're required to provide it. No medical documentation needed. No fee. It's your federally protected right. But here's where it gets important. If the airline fails to provide requested wheelchair assistance, you can file a DOT complaint. Airlines face fines for violations. Document everything. Get names. File complaints at aviation.consumerprotection.gov. And this changes everything for senior travel comfort. Right number 9. Carry-on medical equipment doesn't count as luggage. Now let's talk about the medical equipment protection. CPAP machines, oxygen concentrators, and other medical devices don't count toward your carry-on allowance. This is federal law. But airlines often try to count them anyway. But here's what's catching seniors off guard. Many seniors don't bring essential medical equipment because they think it counts as luggage. They leave CPAPs home to avoid baggage fees. This creates serious health risks. A 68-year-old man with sleep apnea didn't bring his CPAP thinking it would count as his carry-on. On a long international flight, he had a medical episode. Oxygen levels dropped. Paramedics met the plane, all because he didn't know his rights. What you need to know is medical equipment is exempt. Bring your CPAP, bring your oxygen, notify TSA at screening. But you don't need airline permission. It's federal law under the Air Carrier Access Act. And this changes everything for seniors with medical needs. Right number 8. Age-based priority boarding. Now, here's the boarding right. Many don't know exists. Some airlines offer priority boarding for passengers over 65. It's not federal law, but many airlines have policies allowing seniors to board early. You just need to ask. But here's the twist. Gate agents don't announce this. You have to know to request it. A simple, "I'm over 65, may I board early?" often works. American, Delta, and United allow this on many flights. A 74-year-old woman discovered this accidentally. She asked if seniors could board early. The gate agent said yes. She got settled without crowds, stored her carry-on easily. It made the entire experience less stressful. What seniors should do is ask every time. The worst they can say is no, but often they'll allow early boarding, especially if you mention mobility concerns. and this changes everything for boarding stress. Right number 7. Refunds for significant flight changes. Now, let's talk about the schedule change protection. If an airline changes your flight significantly, you're entitled to a full refund, not vouchers, cash. This is federal law as of 2024 under new DOT rules. But here's what's catching travelers off guard. Significant means changes of 3+ hours for domestic flights or 6+ hours for international flights. If your departure or arrival time changes by that much, you can demand a full refund to your original payment method. A retired couple's morning flight was changed to late evening, 6 hours later. They didn't want the new time. The airline offered a voucher. They didn't know they could demand cash. They accepted the voucher and lost flexibility. What airlines won't tell you is you have the legal right to a refund, not a rebooking, not a voucher, your money back. Say clearly, I want a refund to my original payment method per DOT regulations. But here's the kicker. Airlines train staff to offer vouchers first. They hope. You don't know the law. If you accept the voucher, you've waived your refund right. Always demand the refund, and this changes everything for schedule flexibility. Right number 6. Accessible seating without extra charges. Now, here's the seating right that protects seniors. Airlines cannot charge extra for seats that accommodate passengers with disabilities. Aisle seats for mobility, seats with movable armrests, seats near accessible lavatories. These must be available without upcharges. But here's the twist. Airlines' seat selection systems often charge for these seats anyway. They bury the exception in fine print. Most seniors pay the fee, not knowing they're legally entitled to those seats free. A 71-year-old woman with arthritis needs aisle seats for mobility. The airline wanted to charge $45 for seat selection. She paid it, not knowing passengers with disabilities get accessible seats free under the Air Carrier Access Act. What you need to do is call the airline. Don't use the website. Tell them you need an accessible seat due to disability. They must provide it without charge. If they refuse, file a DOT complaint. And this changes everything for fair seating access. Right number 5. Compensation for lost or delayed mobility equipment. Now, let's talk about the equipment protection that has teeth. If an airline loses, damages, or delays your wheelchair, walker, or cane, they face serious penalties. You're entitled to immediate compensation, and the airline faces federal fines. But here's what's catching seniors off guard. Airlines lose or damage wheelchairs at alarming rates. Over 11,000 wheelchairs were damaged in 2023. Many seniors don't know they're entitled to immediate compensation and replacement. A 69-year-old man's wheelchair was damaged in transit. The airline said they'd repair it in 2 to 3 weeks. He didn't know he was entitled to immediate temporary replacement and compensation. He went without mobility for 3 weeks. What federal law requires is airlines must immediately provide temporary replacement equipment, plus compensation for the inconvenience. The amount varies but can be substantial. Document all damages with photos. File DOT complaints. Airlines face fines up to $51,000 per violation. And this changes everything for mobility equipment safety. Right number 4. Right to refuse vouchers and demand cash. Now, here's the compensation right that saves thousands. When airlines owe you money for delays, cancellations, or bumping, you can refuse vouchers and demand cash. Airlines heavily push vouchers because they expire and have restrictions. Cash is your right. But here's the twist. Airlines train staff to offer vouchers first, second, and third. They make it seem like vouchers are your only option. They're not. Federal law requires cash compensation for involuntary denied boarding, and DOT rules now require cash refunds for cancelled flights. A couple was bumped from an oversold flight. The airline offered a $500 voucher per person. They accepted, not knowing they were legally entitled to $1,350 cash per person based on their delay length. They left $1,700 on the table. What you must do is refuse vouchers. Say clearly, "I want cash compensation per federal regulations." Don't accept vouchers unless they're significantly more valuable. Cash is flexible. Vouchers expire and have blackout dates. And this changes everything for actual compensation value. Right number 3, meal vouchers for extended delays. Now let's talk about the meal compensation right. For extended delays, airlines must provide meal vouchers. This isn't always federal law, but it's policy for most major carriers, and many passengers don't know to request them. But here's what's catching travelers. Airlines don't automatically offer meal vouchers. You have to ask. For delays of 3+ hours, most airlines will provide 12 meal vouchers, but only if you request them. A retired teacher was delayed 6 hours, never offered food vouchers, spent $40 of her own money on airport food. She didn't know she could request vouchers from the gate agent. What seniors should know is always ask for meal vouchers during delays. Say, "I'd like meal vouchers for this delay." Most airlines will provide them for delays over 3 hours. It's not always required, but it's policy. And this changes everything for delay expenses. But the final 2 rights aren't just valuable. They're worth thousands of dollars. One guarantees you cash compensation up to $1,550 per ticket when airlines bump you. And the number 1 right, it protects you from a practice that costs seniors an estimated $2.3 billion annually. Money airlines pocket by hoping you don't know the law. These final 2 rights are why airlines train staff or receive to offer alternatives. Because once you claim them, the airline loses money immediately. Right number 2, involuntary denied boarding compensation. Now let's talk about the overbooking compensation law. When airlines oversell flights and bump you involuntarily, federal law requires immediate cash compensation. The amount depends on your delay. $775 for 1 to 2 hour delays, $1,550 for delays over 2 hours on domestic flights. But here's what's shocking. Airlines try everything to avoid paying this. They ask for volunteers first. They offer vouchers. They rebook you. But if you're bumped involuntarily, you're legally entitled to cash immediately, plus your original ticket or rebooking. A 67-year-old woman was bumped from an oversold flight. The next available flight was in 2 days. The airline offered a $400 voucher. She accepted. She didn't know she was legally entitled to $1,550 cash because her delay exceeded 2 hours. What federal law requires is airlines must provide written notice of your rights. They must offer cash compensation immediately. You get to keep your ticket refund or get rebooked plus the cash compensation. This is on top of your rebooking, not instead of it. But here's where airlines manipulate the system. They aggressively seek volunteers. They increase voucher offers until someone bites. Because vouchers cost airlines less than cash, a $1,000 voucher costs the airline maybe $200 in actual expenses. Cash costs $1,000. What seniors must do is understand the difference. Voluntary bumping means you accept vouchers. Involuntary bumping means they chose you. If you're involuntarily bumped, demand cash. Say, "I want my involuntary denied boarding compensation in cash per 14 CFR 250.5. Use the regulation number. They know you know the law. The compensation chart is clear. If you reach your destination 2 hours late, domestic, or 1 to 4 hours late, international, you get 200% of your one-way fare, maximum $775. If you reach your destination over 2 hours late, domestic, or over 4 hours late, international, you get 400% of your one-way fare, maximum $1,550. A retired couple was involuntarily bumped. Their tickets cost $350 each. Their delay was 3 hours. They were entitled to $1,400 cash each, $2,800 total. The airline offered $800 in vouchers total. They knew the law. They demanded cash. Got their full $2,800, and this changes everything for overbooking protection. Right number 1, 24-hour per-hour cancellation refund rule. The number 1 federally protected right airlines hope you never claim is the 24-hour risk-free cancellation law. Federal law requires airlines to allow free cancellations within 24 hours of booking if your departure is at least 7 days away. Full refund to your original payment method. No fees, no vouchers. This is federal law under 14 CFR 259.5. But here's the twist that costs seniors billions. Most seniors don't know this exists. They book flights and think they're locked in. Airlines don't advertise this right prominently. They bury it in fine print. Because every cancellation within 24 hours costs them revenue. A grandmother booked tickets for her family, 2,400 total. Within hours, she realized she had the dates wrong. She thought the tickets were non-refundable. She ate the cost and rebooked for $2,400 more. Total cost, $4,800. If she'd known the 24-hour rule, she would have cancelled within 24 hours and rebooked correctly. Lost $2,400. What federal law requires is airlines must provide a full refund to your original payment method if you cancel within 24 hours and your departure is at least 7 days away. No exceptions, no fees, no vouchers. Your money back. But here's where airlines make this difficult. Many airlines' websites don't make cancellation obvious within that 24-hour window. You have to dig through menus, call customer service. They hope you'll miss the window or give up. What seniors must do is act fast. If you book and have any second thoughts, cancel within 24 hours. You can always rebook. This rule exists specifically to let consumers shop without commitment. The Department of Transportation implemented this rule in 2011 to protect consumers from pressure booking tactics. The impact of this right is enormous. It means you can book tickets when you see good prices without fear. You have 24 hours to verify dates with family, check work schedules, confirm hotels. If anything doesn't work, cancel and get your money back. A couple used this strategically. They saw good fares for Christmas travel, booked immediately, spent the next day confirming with their kids. One conflict emerged. They cancelled within 24 hours. Full refund, rebooked different dates, saved the good fares without risk. But here's the critical detail. This applies to tickets purchased at least 7 days before departure. If you book a flight leaving in 3 days, this rule doesn't apply. It's designed for advance bookings, not last-minute travel. Airlines hate this rule because it costs them revenue. Some passengers book multiple options and cancel all but one. Airlines lose potential sales to competitors. But it's your legal right. Use it. The number one position goes to this right because it's the most valuable and least known. Seniors lose an estimated $2.3 billion annually by not knowing they can cancel within 24 hours. They book wrong dates, book wrong cities, change their minds, and think they're stuck. They're not. 10 federally protected rights. Thousands of dollars in potential compensation. And most seniors never claim them because airlines don't volunteer the information. These rights exist to protect you, but only if you know they exist and demand them. If you're over 60 and flying, memorize these 10 rights. Screenshot this list. Share it with friends. Because knowledge is the only defense against airlines that profit from your ignorance. Hit that like button if this revealed rights you didn't know you had. And subscribe because we're exposing the protections that exist in your favor, the ones industries hope you never discover.